The increasing use of the digital space for both work and personal activities makes us more vulnerable to cyber attacks. It is important for us to understand what we can do to mitigate these attacks. Good day and welcome to the Heart NSTA Trust lecture series, The Heartbeat. I'm your host, Kevin Baxter, and today we will share valuable information on cybersecurity. At the end of this session, learners should be able to 1. Identify the purpose of cybersecurity. 2. Practice personal data management. 3. Identify organizational data and CIA triad. Let's join Wendy Jump for another informative learning experience.
Thank you, Kevin. So we're going to talk about the introduction to cybersecurity. The connected digital devices make up an integral part of your daily lives. All types of organizations, such as your medical, financial, and your educational institutions, use these networks to operate effectively. They utilize the network by collecting, processing, sharing, and storing vast amounts of digital information. As more digital information is gathered and shared, the protection of this information is becoming even more vital to our national security and our economic stability. Cybersecurity is the ongoing effort to protect these network systems and all of the data from unauthorized use or access or harm. On a personal level, you need to safeguard your identity, your data, and your computing devices. At the corporate level, it's everybody's responsibility to protect the organization's reputation, data, and customers. At the national level, national security and the safety and well-being of the citizens are vital. Your online and your offline identity. As more time is spent online, your identity, both online and offline, can affect your life. Your offline identity is the person who you are with your friends and your family and how you interact with them on a daily basis at home, school, or at work. They know your personal information such as your name, your age, and your address. Your online identity is who you are in cyberspace. Your online identity is how you present yourself to others online. This online identity should only reveal a limited amount of information about you. You should take care of when you're choosing a username or an alias to use online. The username should not include any personal information. Your username should not lead strangers to think that you are an easy target for cyber criminals or unwanted attention. Your data, however, any information that you have can be considered to be your data. Your personal information can uniquely identify you as an individual. The data includes your pictures and messages that you exchange with your family and friends online. Other information, such as your name, your TRN, your date of birth, your place of birth, or even your mother's maiden name, is known by you and is also used to identify you. Information such as your medical, educational, financial, and employment information can also be used to identify you online. Your medical records. Every time you go to your doctor's office, more information is added to your medical records, especially if it is electronic. The prescription that you get from your family doctor becomes part of your medical records. Your medical records also include your physical health, your mental health, and your other personal information that may not be medically related. So for example, if you had a counseling session as a child when there was a major change in your family, then this will also be in your medical records. Besides your medical history and personal information, your medical record also includes information about your family. Now, medical devices such as your fitness bands use cloud platforms to enable wireless transfers and storage and display of clinical data like heart rates, blood pressures, and blood sugar levels. These devices that you wear can generate enormous amount of clinical data that could become part of your medical record. Educational records, as you go through your education, information about your grades and your test scores and your attendance, the courses that you take, the awards and the degrees that you're rewarded, and any disciplinary report is part of your education record. The record may also include contact information, health and immunization records, your employment, and your financial records now. Your financial record may include information about your income and your expenditures. Tax record could include your paycheck stubs, your credit card statements, and other banking information. Your employment information can include your past employment and your performance as well. So let's look at how it is that cyber criminals want to take your money. Now, if you have anything of value, the criminals definitely want it. Your online credentials are valuable. These credentials give thieves access to your account. You may think that your frequent flyer miles that you have earned are not valuable to cyber criminals. Think again. After cyber criminals hack into your account, they can use these credentials to book free flights and upgrade using these stolen credentials. Even though your frequent flyer miles might be returned to you by your airlines, this also demonstrates the value of your login credentials. A criminal could also take advantage of your relationships. They could access your online accounts and your reputation to trick you into wiring money to your friends or family. The criminal can send messages stating that your family or friends need you to wire money so that they can get home from abroad after losing their wallets. The criminals are very imaginative when they are trying to trick you into giving them money. They do not just steal your money, they also steal your identity and can ruin your life. So besides stealing your money for short-term monetary gain, the criminals want long-term profits by stealing your identity. As medical costs rise, medical identity theft is also on the rise. The identity thieves can steal your medical insurance and use your medical benefits for themselves, and these medical procedures are now in your medical records. The annual tax filing procedures may vary from country to country. However, cyber criminals see this as an opportunity for them. So for example, the United States need to file their tax returns by April 15th of each year. The Internal Revenue Services does not check that tax return against the information from the employer until July. An identity thief can file a fake tax return and collect the refund. The legitimate filers will notice when their returns are rejected by the IRS. With the stolen identity, cyber criminals can also open credit card accounts and run up your debt. This will cause damage to your credit rating and make it more difficult for you to obtain loans. Personal credentials can also lead to corporate data and government data access. So let's talk about types of organizational data, moreover your traditional data. So corporate data includes your personal information, your intellectual properties, and your financial data. The personal information includes application materials, your payroll, your offer letters, your employment agreements, and any information used in making decisions. Intellectual properties such as patents, trademarks, and new product designs allows a business to gain economic advantage over its competitors. This intellectual property can be considered to be a trade secret. Losing that information can be disastrous to the future of a company, and the financial data such as income statements and your balance sheets and your cash flow statements of a company gives insight into the health of the company. Let's talk about Internet of Things and big data. With the emergence of Internet of Things, there's a lot of data to manage and secure. So Internet of Things is really a large network of physical objects, such as a sensor, and equipment such as your refrigerator, your television, your garage doors that extend beyond the traditional computer network. All these connections, plus the fact that they have exploited large capacity of storage data and services through the cloud and virtualization, lead to a vast growth of data. Now, this data has created a new area of interest in technology and business called big data. With the velocity and the volume and the variety of different types of data generated by IoT and the daily operations of a business, the confidentiality, integrity, and availability of this data is vital to the survival of an organization. So let's look at the confidentiality, integrity, and availability. So confidentiality, integrity, and availability, known as the CIA triad, is really a guideline for information security for an organization. Now, confidentiality ensures the privacy of data by restricting access through authentication encryption. So integrity assures that the information is accurate and trustworthy. Availability ensures that the information is accessible to authorized people. So confidentiality, another term would be privacy, right? So company policies should restrict access to information to authorized personnel and ensure that only those authorized individuals view the data. The data may be compartmentalized according to the security or the sensitivity level of the information. For example, a programmer, a developer should not have access to personal information of all the employees. Furthermore, your employees should receive training to understand the best practices in safeguarding sensitive information and to protect themselves and the company from attacks. Methods to ensure confidentiality include data encryption, your username, ID, and password, two-factor authentication, minimizing exposure to sensitive information. So integrity now, integrity is the accuracy and consistency and trustworthiness of the data during its entire life cycle. Data must be unaltered, meaning no changes, during transit and not changed by unauthorized entities. So file permissions and user access control can prevent unauthorized access. Version control can also be used to prevent accidental changes by authorized persons. Backups must be available to restore any corrupted data, and checksum hashing can be used to verify integrity of the data during its transfer. Now, what's a checksum? A checksum is used to verify the integrity of files or strings of characters after they have been transferred from one device to another across a local network or the internet. Checksums are calculated with hash functions. Some of the common checksums are MD5, CHA-1, CHA-256. A hash function uses mathematical algorithms to transform the data into fixed length values that represents the data. The hashed value is simply there for comparison. From the hashed value, the original data cannot be retrieved directly. For example, if you forgot your password cannot be recovered from the hashed value. The password must be reset. So after a file is downloaded, you can verify its integrity by verifying the hash values from the source with the one you generated using a hash calculator. By comparing the hash values, you can ensure that the file has not been tampered with or corrupted during the transfer. So availability now. Maintaining your equipment, performing hardware checks and repairs, keeping operating systems and software up to date, and creating your backups ensure that availability of your network and the data to authorized users. Plans should be put in place to recover your information quickly from natural or man-made disasters. So your security equipment or softwares such as firewalls or antivirus softwares guard against downtime due to attacks such as a denial of service. Now, a denial of service occurs when an attacker attempts to overwhelm your resources so that the services are not available to users. So let's look at the consequences of a security breach. To protect an organization from every possible cyber attack is not feasible for a few reasons. The experts necessary to set up and maintain the secure network can be very expensive. Attackers will always continue to find new ways to target networks. Eventually, an advanced and targeted cyber attack will succeed. The priority will then be how quickly your security team can respond to the attack to minimize the loss of data, the downtime, and your revenue. By now, you're supposed to know that whatever you post online lives online forever, even if you have gotten rid of your copies in your possession. If your servers were hacked, the confidential personal information could be made public. A hacker or a hacking group may vandalize the company's website by posting untrue information and ruin the company's reputation that took so many years to build. The hackers can also take down the company's website, causing the company to lose revenue. If the website is down for long periods of time, the company may appear unreliable and possibly lose their credibility. If the company website or network has been breached, this could lead to leaked confidential documents, revealed trade secrets, and stolen intellectual property. So the loss of all of this information may impede the company's growth and its expansion. And the monetary cost of a breach is much higher than just replacing any lost or stolen devices. Investing in the security and also in strengthening the physical security of the building. Now, the company may be responsible for contacting all the affected customers about the breach and may also have to prepare themselves for litigation. With all of this that's happening, employees may choose to leave the company, and therefore the company may need to focus less on growing and more now on repairing its reputation. So let's look at types of attackers. Now, attackers are individuals or groups who attempt to exploit vulnerability for personal or financial gain. Attackers are interested in everything from your credit cards to product designs and anything that you consider of value. So amateurs, these are the persons who are sometimes called script kiddies. They usually attack with little or no skill, often using existing tools or instructions found on the internet to launch an attack. Some of them are just really curious, while the others are just trying to demonstrate their skill levels and still can cause harm. They may be using basic tools, but the results can still be devastating. So hackers, this group of attackers break into computers or networks to gain access. Depending on the intent of the break-in, these attackers are classified as white, gray, or black hats. Now, the white hat attackers break into networks or computer systems to discover weaknesses so that the security of this system can be improved. Now, these break-ins are done with prior permission, and any results are reported back to the owner. On the other hand, a black hat attacker takes advantage of any vulnerability for illegal, personal, financial, or a political gain. Gray hat attackers are somewhere in between white and black hat attackers. The gray hat attackers may find vulnerability in a system, though these gray hat attackers may report the vulnerability to the owners of the system if that action coincides with what they want. Now, some gray hat attackers publish these facts about the vulnerability on the internet so that other attackers can exploit it. Now, organized hackers, these hackers include organizations of cyber criminals, hacktivists, terrorists, and state-sponsored hackers. Now, cyber criminals are usually groups of professional criminals focused on control, power, and wealth. Now, the criminals are highly sophisticated and organized, and they may even provide cybercrime as a service to other criminals. Now, activists make political statements to create awareness to issues that are important to them. So state-sponsored attackers, however, gather intelligence or commit sabotage on behalf of their government. These attackers are usually highly trained and well-funded, and their attacks are focused and specific to a goal that are beneficial to their government. So internal and your external threats. Now, your internal security threats may consider that attacks can be originated from within an organization or from outside of an organization. An internal user, such as an employee or a contract partner, can accidentally or intentionally mishandle confidential data, threaten the operations of an internal server or a network infrastructure device, facilitate outside attacks by connecting an infected USB media into the corporate computer system, and also by accidentally inviting malware. So internal threats also have the potential to cause greater damage than external threats because internal users, such as your employees, have direct access to the building and its infrastructure devices. Employees also have knowledge of the corporate network and its resources and its confidential data, as well as different levels of user or administrative privileges. So your external security threats, however, are from amateurs or skilled attackers that can exploit vulnerabilities in a network or a computing device or use social engineering to gain access. So let's look at your cyber warfare. What really is cyber warfare? So cyberspace has become an important dimension of warfare where nations can carry out conflicts without clashes of your traditional troops and military machinery. This allows countries with minimal military presence to be as strong as other nations in cyberspace. So cyber warfare is an internet-based conflict that involves the penetration of computer systems and the networks of other nations. These attackers have the resources and expertise to launch massive internet-based attacks against other nations to cause damage or disrupt their services, such as shutting down a power grid. For example, a state-sponsored attack involved the Stuxnet malware that was designed to damage Iran's nuclear-enriched plant. Now, the Stuxnet malware did not hijack targeted computers to steal information. It was designed to damage physical equipment that was controlled by the computers. It used modular coding that was programmed to perform a specific task within the malware. It used stolen digital certificates so that the attack appeared legitimate to the system. The main purpose of cyber warfare is to gain advantage over adversaries, whether they are nations or they're just competitors. A nation can continuously invade other nations' infrastructure, steal defense secrets, and gather information about technology to narrow the gaps in its industries and military. Besides industrial and military espionage, cyber war can sabotage the infrastructure of other nations and cost lives in the targeted nations. For example, an attack on the disrupted power grid of a major city that can disrupt traffic. The exchange of goods and services are also disrupted. Patients cannot get the care that they need in an emergency situation, and access to the internet may also be disrupted. By affecting the power grid, the attack can actually affect the everyday life of an ordinary citizen. Furthermore, compromised sensitive data can give the attackers the ability to blackmail personnel within the government. The information can also allow an attacker to pretend to be an authorized user to access sensitive information or equipment. If the government cannot defend against a cyber attack, the citizens may lose confidence in its government's ability to protect them. Cyber warfare can destabilize a nation, disrupt commerce, and affect the citizens' faith in their government without ever physically invading the targeted nation. And that is where we end our introduction to cybersecurity for today.
What are your thoughts on this presentation? Remember to be safe while you engage with us through our social media pages or WhatsApp at 876-279-7930. You can also check out our YouTube channel to review all the information from this session. I am Kevin Baxter. See you again on The Heartbeat, your skills learning hub.